Welcome to Stewards Watch then, from what happened over the weekend for the Formula E Jeddah E-Prix rounds 4 and 5 of the calendar. We're going to start with race 4 and Zane Maloney getting taken out by Jose Maria Martí as well. Now, Jack Pickering's alongside me. Pico, it's a very interesting strategy, this call, because many people wanted to say that this should have been a penalty for Martí, taking Maloney out of the race. The stewards deemed it as no further action as well. So we're going to run through the clip and you talk us through what you saw of it up in the commentary box. And I'll hit play now on Maloney's onboard start. We did have a delayed start, remember, but he got a stonking start.
Yeah, this is one thing that we picked up in the broadcast on Friday night, that Maloney, to get up to where Martí and Cassidy was, he must have had a brilliant start. And yeah, he pulled away so well and just sighed through between the cars in front of him. And then this is where we come up to the hairpin at turn 4. So here we got Martí on the left, Cassidy is in front of him, and this is where it happens. Cassidy pulls in front of Martí. Martí tries to switch him back, and then Martí Martí basically pushes Maloney into the wall. So I understand the means for a penalty, but this is a very interesting thing to see. So we're looking back at it now. If we can, so we see Martí. He's been cut off by Cassidy there, so he's now going to switch to the outside of what is the S section of 5 and 6. Now, this being lap 1, braking points are at different sections on the lap because they're all bunched up. And so you kind of take turn 1 with a little bit more of a pinch of salt than you do other laps. But yeah, for this one, it was basically 2 into 1 doesn't go. And Maloney's front left wheel just gets taken off by Martí trying to make that move on Cassidy. And going into that corner, you can actually see that Martí is taking it to Cassidy going into turn 5, but he has made contact with Maloney there, and it's understandable why this went to the stewards.
Right, let's take a look at it on board then in a few moments with Jose Maria Martí, because that shows a slightly different side, where I would argue the point is that it was sort of deeming of a penalty, because he does sort of just cut across without really looking, because he's not looking at the rear of mirrors. First of all, he got compromised at the start to turn 1 with 2 cars alongside him, but when he's battling with Cassidy, who's cut the corner at the exit of 1 there, he doesn't look. He's just instinctively going to the inside. On the first lap, you've got to be spatial awareness. We'll get ready to pause it.
Yeah, and this is one of the things with lap 1. So here we're seeing Cassidy cut Martí off. Martí then goes to the outside, and then you can just about see where the contact is made. But yeah,
because look, he's already doing the switchback, isn't he, on the wheel? He's going straight over there.
He realised that there's no way to get in on the inside there. Cassidy's basically got that covered, so he knows that there's going to be more on the outside, so he goes for it.
But he's not looking in his mirror.
He goes too far to the right or not. So this is interesting. So now he is in clear air. His front left wheel and Cassidy's back right wheel are now only just a little bit aligned. So he doesn't need to go too much further to the right. But even then, we're looking at the real estate in front of us. That isn't a huge amount to go for 2 cars.
There's the contact there.
This is the moment where the contact is made, and you can see that there is still a lot of breathing room to Nick Cassidy on the left-hand side. So that makes this decision a lot more interesting, because if you look to the right, as Joss has drawn on the screen, there is very little room between Marty's right wheel and the wall.
There's the contact, as you can see, as it jumps up into it. You can see his wheel getting completely out of shape. But, so I'd argue that it should have been a penalty because there's no spatial awareness. We've seen many other people say that it was a penalty when it's happened before in Formula E. But the stewards, they like to be lenient, don't they, on the opening lap? So what's your verdict? Do you agree with the stewards with it being a racing incident, or should there have been a penalty because it did take Maloney out of the race and it was a daft move along the inside?
I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I can see the sides for both. Personally, in the broadcast, I said that's not a penalty. Looking back at it now, I do understand the reasonings for why a penalty could and should have been considered. But I think, like you said, JB, lap one, they take it with a little bit of pinch of salt, and so yeah, personally for me, no penalty, but I see the means for one.
Even more slightly comical now. We're not going to take a look at it into too much depth, but in Saturday's race, Martí was still attached to the back of Maloney, coming into the chicane, rising up and knocking over, unfortunately, Maloney's rear wing side pod. I mean, Pico, it's comical that these two got together in race one, but for it to be in race two as well, it was quite daft.
Yeah, they were magnetised together this weekend, I think. But yeah, that kind of incident, I mean, it's something that we see in Formula E quite a bit. So
Yeah.
But yeah, no, a bit of cosmetic damage for Maloney, but that doesn't do too much worth of damage. In
see it
terms
hanging
of,
off.
there's no point to downforce lost or anything like that. But yeah, just more comical than anything that they came together again.
Yeah, and by the way, Martí was given a black and white flag for that, so he did get a little bit of a slap on the wrist for rising up the back. But yeah, just comical that
I think that's fair.
it happened again. Yeah, for that one, it's fair.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a look now at an incident in practice 3 between eventual race winner Antonio Felix da Costa and Jean-Éric Vergne. Now, this decision by the stewards was given as a reprimand for the blocking and dangerous driving the circuit. Pico, just to give you a bit of context as well, 20 seconds to go in the session. This is usually when we see the drivers start their final push lap, or sometimes even try and avoid taking the checkered flag to make sure that they can come around and do a practice start. So it does get very hectic at the end here. So we'll roll the clip through and you can tell us what we see first of all. And I will just highlight quickly that a yellow flag does come out on the panel. So watch the top left of the screen. I'll circle it when it happens.
Yeah, so we've got the two Citroens of Vergne, Cassidy and Tictum there. Da Costa's already on a fast lap, but yeah, he comes into that final section and then, and has to do an avoiding job on Jean-Éric Vergne. We saw Nick Cassidy there actually go on to that in-between bit between the pit lane and the racetrack.
So up here.
No, it's the bit. It's the blue bit that says Formula E.
Here
So
we go.
he ends
Look
up.
here.
You can just see him in the corner there. So he's there. Tictum gets out of the way as well, but Jev kind of goes for it. He's trying to get over the line, which he does, but in doing so, means that Da Costa's lap is impeded massively.
The closing speed there is unbelievable. I mean, even in freeze frame, you can see how quickly Da Costa's coming up right on the back. And there's just a slightest of puff of smoke there, I just noticed as they came into it. So we'll roll the clip on and we'll get some of the onboards coming through from race control. So this is a look at the last corner. Bit of a side-on view here as well about how much Da Costa was going for the racing line and Vergne just sort of cut straight across him.
Yeah, I think by that point, I think the fact that Vergne was blocking going into that first part of the chicane, it made me more surprised that Da Costa actually went for it in the second chicane, and that's where the contact is made. We just saw there, just a little bit of slow speed contact between the back of Jev's car and the front of Da Costa's car. There's no damage whatsoever there, just a bit of bruised egos. But
so there's, you say, Cassidy,
yeah,
here's Tictum.
That's Cassidy, that's Tictum getting out of the way, and you've got Vergne is the third car in front of.
All the way here, all the way up here.
Yeah.
Look. So the closing speed, we'll slow it down as well to show the onboards because we've got that tool now to do so. So let's get a half speed coming into it. It's such an insane speed, and only now does he hit the brakes. And he's still trying to regen the energy, and he has to take physical avoiding action. He's sort of left with no opportunity but to have to try and go for it on the inside into the second chicane. It was an accident sort of waiting to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think in any other session that would have been a slam dunk penalty, but because it's free practice 3, it's another one where it's kind of debatable. It wasn't for any real position or anything like that. Jev got a reprimand in the end, which I think was very much deserved. But I think if he did get any other kind of penalty for either the grid or the or an in-race penalty, that would have been probably a little bit too much for something that happened for a messy end of a practice session.
Just take a look here, because he's not looking in his wing mirrors on either side. He's looking here and he's changing switches on the steering wheel. So he's not even looking as he's turning in. He's looking down at his dash. Then he looks over and sees that Da Costa's coming in, so speeds up, turns in. He's going to see him in the little wing mirror here, but it's too late. Bang. So just completely not observant, because he's trying to take set up for a fast run. So the stewards gave Jean-Éric Vergne a reprimand for this decision. Personally, I think that that's the right call, because you're blocking directly on a racing line, and it could have been so much worse. You can see the kick of oversteer he gets. He tries to put down for full power. What is your take on this, Pico? Is it the right decision to give him a reprimand, or should it have been no further action?
Yeah, I completely agree with a reprimand for Jev here, and like I said, any other session that would have been, if it was if that was in qualifying, that would have been a grid drop immediately, or a deleted lap time or something like that, whether it was in the groups or not. But because it was at the end of free practice 3, reprimand is the right decision.
And another thing we're going to take a look at is from free practice 1 all the way back on Thursday. This is Oliver Rowland, and he's been given a reprimand for dangerous driving into the fast corner. Now, I must stress that Nissan did appeal this decision, but as we mentioned live on air at the end of Saturday's show, the appeal has been rejected. So a bit of a waste of money there for Nissan. But the question we want to look at is, should it be a reprimand, or should it have not and just been a no further action? Pico's alongside me. Pico, I'll run the clip and you can tell us what happens.
Right, so this is coming into the long sweeping turn 13, and this is Taylor Barnard, who's on a 350 lap, and Ollie Rowland, who I think is on a fast lap as well, but he's not in 350, he's on 300, and so Barnard's, because he's got that overspeed difference, sweeps down the inside and goes past Ollie Rowland. But in doing so, they make a small amount of contact, and Rowland is sent wide. Now, this is a little bit more interesting, and it's I think it's the fact that they're both on fast laps that in the session. It's just that Barnard is on 50 kilowatts and more power and four-wheel drive. So that's why I think this changes a lot, and I think that's why I think, in my personal opinion, this probably should have been no further action. That when they looked at that, when I first looked at that on Thursday night, I thought, Rowland should have been looking in his mirrors. But when you look at it again, you think, okay, Rowland's actually on a fast 300 lap. You can tell that Rowland's in 300 and Barnard's on 350. So you can see the blue light on the top of Barnard's car, and so that's where you can tell that there's always going to be a speed difference. But the shot of them going down the back straight into turn 13, it shows that it shows the closing speed, and the closing speed looks right for a 350 on a 300, but it's not for someone who's not on a lap. So that's why I believe Ollie Rowland was on a fast lap in that session, and that's why it kind of looks like that it probably should have been no further action.
Now, just to quickly explain, if Rowland wasn't on a lap, he would have gone straight on and taken the wider line to get out of the way. He didn't, and that's why you think he's on a 350 lap time as well. I tend to agree with you on that front. So we'll run it on a little bit more and now jump into the onboard section of things as well, which is where things get a little bit interesting. So we're riding on board with Barnard. You can tell he's on a maximum look on the steering wheel. As you can see, the region of power, maximum power, throttle, maximum output as well, blah, 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 all the technical jargon. This, though, is interesting for me as well. That you can see the harvesting light's already on. So Rowland's already braking when Barnard, you can see on the wheel here, decides to go on the inside for a move. And they're at the 150 mark as well on the board. So Pico, he made his intentions clear quite early on. Oh, sorry, they're at the 100-metre board.
And so with the power difference, it's obvious that Barnard's going to have a crack at going past Ollie Rowland, but I think it was just a misunderstanding. They didn't realise that each other were.
Yeah, he's expecting Rowland to go straight on.
Yeah, was on a lap, and yeah, that's why the contact was made.
Can see here that he's realised he's made a mistake and he has to turn in more. Rowland hasn't seen him on the inside. Barnard then gets on the dust with the actual literal sand and sort of nudges him out of the way. We've got a clip on board just coming through shortly with Ollie Rowland as he comes in. Now with Rowland, you can see he's already turning in past the 100-metre board. He's taken the normal racing line apex in, and also he's got Barnard trying to come in on the inside line. He has to take the avoiding action. So how do you reckon of that? Do you still think he's on a fast lap?
Yeah, I still think when you're on a fast lap, you're not looking in your mirrors. So he is probably unaware of the fact that Barnard has closed in considerably and is on a 350, and so yeah, I think for me this is a big just a big misunderstanding, and unfortunate for Ollie Rowland, but yeah.
Joe, and no further action call you're saying, and you disagree with the stewards.
No further action, but this was appealed by Nissan, but when you appeal you need to have substantial new evidence to be able to overturn that, and because they didn't have the substantial new evidence, it was rejected. So yeah, that's why the appeal didn't go through.
Disappointment for Oliver Rowland. He's now got one reprimand for this season.